from a certain corner. They shoot at me. I think the bullet passed, I don't know, just I felt like this,
Father Sebastiano D'Ambra's story and that of the Silsilah Dialogue Movement starts at a time of great unrest in southern Mindanao, Philippines. From his experience as a negotiator during the conflict arose the conviction to heal and unite through dialogue.
I said to myself, I have to do this to help people here, Muslim, Christian, to build trust, peace, confidence.
The search for a common spiritual ground where both Muslims and Christians could connect was both a wonder and a revelation to the local community.
In that meeting, I was surprised. There were Muslims and Christians together.
Father Sebastiano D'Ambra, he wants that how Christian to become a better Christian and how Muslim to become a better Muslim.
He introduced what Silsilah Dialogue Movement is all about, and I've learned the spirituality behind the movement, and from there I got hooked.
From a humble hut to a vast centre for dialogue that enriches thousands of people every year, the Silsilah Dialogue Movement has become a lasting instrument for peace in the Philippines.
I came from Sicily. My house was near the sea. The waves have some spiritual message. Sometimes I know the sea is very calm, sometimes it's rough. The sea can remind us that there is another horizon. We have to move from one horizon to another horizon. This is life. I never thought to reach to this age or this place or to do what I'm doing, but it's part of my understanding, of course, in my prayer, in my trust in the Lord, moving through one horizon to another horizon.
The first horizon Father Sebastiano D'Ambra encountered was to experience interreligious dialogue far away from his native Italy. After joining the Pontifical Institute for Foreign Missions, PIME, Father Sebastiano learned there were many negative perceptions of people from opposing religions which needed mending. He was assigned to the Philippines island of Mindanao, home to a large Muslim population, arriving there in February 1977.
In my first mission, it was Yocon, Zamboanga del Norte, in Mindanao. I start to give attention, first of all, to the Subanon. These are indigenous people. And after I saw the great need to be closer to the Muslim, at that time it was the MNLF war.
The country had fallen under martial law and the dictatorship of President Ferdinand Marcos. Human rights violations were increasing. Several PIME missionaries had been deported. The political situation was further complicated by a military conflict between the federal government and the Moro National Liberation Front, the MNLF, which sought independence. In the face of great violence and discrimination, Father Sebastiano became a bridge between opposing sides. He named his humble nipa hut in the village where he lived the Muslim Christian Brotherhood.
All the neighbors were Muslim, and children are always around with a lot of curiosity. And one day I was in the room just for moments of prayer. When I went out, one little girl said, "Father, what you have done inside?" And I said, "I was praying." And this girl is looking at me and say, "Father, also the Christian pray?" I was touched because poor girl, she has an understanding of the Christian, like the military, those who kill the Muslim. The immersion in the Muslim community was, first of all, a kind of personal transformation, I came up with this expression that became now a slogan, our motto, our point of reference. Dialogue starts from God and brings people back to God.
Thanks to the respect garnered from the Muslim community, Father Sebastiano was asked by the MNLF rebels to negotiate their surrender, for which the government would grant the rebels amnesty. This was a time of heavy military operations in different parts of Mindanao, resulting in major casualties from both the civilian and the armed groups. For more than a year, starting in August of 1979, Father Sebastiano met with rebel and military groups.
I said to myself, I have to do this. It was a time of crisis. I have to help people here, Muslim, Christian, to build trust, peace, confidence. One time I had a very big problem. The military in some way betrayed us and we were about to have an encounter. The commander, he said, Father, you go, and I said, no, I've been with you for 1 week, I want to stay here. He said, okay, Father, be sure that if they attack us, we will defend you, you will be the last to die, no? These words of a commander who had done so many things in that line of violence touched my heart. I said, look, in the deeper part of the heart of each person, there is always a corner of goodness. We have to reach to that level.
In 1981, Father Sebastiano's role as negotiator came to an abrupt end. An attempt was made on his life by the military, in which his close friend, Boy de Guzman, was killed. Afraid for his safety, the PIME mission superiors asked Father Sebastiano return to Italy. From 1981 to 1983, he deepened his knowledge of Islam at the Pontifical Institute for Arabic and Islamic Studies in Rome. Those years would prove providential to his future mission in the Philippines.
I could decide to stay in Italy and stop with this experience, but I was challenged to do more. For me, it was a kind of discovering, because although I had a certain understanding of Islam, but not so much, I discovered that in Islam there are also these people who are considered the spiritual, the mystics, who have a deeper faith, and they talk about Silsilah, means literally chain or link to their master, and the master link to God. I said, if each one of us are linked, we belong to the same family.
In this concept of Silsilah, Father Sebastiano found the spiritual foundation for interreligious dialogue. Upon his return to Zamboanga in 1983, he brought Muslim and Christian friends together in the spirit of one family. He wanted people of different religions to unite and experience together the love of God for all humanity.
In that meeting, I was surprised. There were Muslims and Christians together. And then he presented his idea of forming Muslims and Christians together and to call it Silsilah. People who will be together in promoting dialogue is the way to peace.
At that time there was some effort, but normally just to do activity together, Muslim, Christian, I said, cannot be like this. A dialogue has to have a spiritual foundation, if not along the way will end.
In May 1984, the Silsilah Dialogue Movement was born. The group of friends, community leaders and those seeking peace met on a regular basis. The group eventually rented a space in Zamboanga City, wanting to become a visible presence in the community.
Our dialogue must be a dialogue with God, within ourselves, with others, and creation. So we put like 4 pillars of our spirituality, of life in dialogue, and people understood. I remember that some Christian friends tried to say, but maybe this about spirituality, the Muslims do not understand so much. But I said no. In fact, the Muslim, of course, those who are open to this idea, understand well. They are open to a certain spiritual understanding of life in dialogue.
I found it very convincing, our being together with Father D'Ambra, because his mission and vision is like with us also. We are also advocating peace to the community in an Islamic way. This is also in the context of the Quran, to invite people to a common words. We are working together on how to create bridge toward relationship so that we can have harmonious living together with one another.
Inspired by their philosophy of love in action, several members of Silsilah ventured permanently into one of Zamboanga's poor neighborhoods. They wanted to have, as they called, a dialogue of life between the different faiths.
Why are you living with us? You are a Christian and we are a Muslim. And I explained about what is Silsilah, our vision and mission. And then I said, I love to know you, I love to know the culture, I love to know something more about Muslims. They were surprised because it was new to them. A Christian like me who is interested about them. I said, we may be different in faith and culture, but there must be something we can share together. They welcomed me. I mean, they were smiling because for them it was a strange reality. So I said, it is the first time for us to hear a Christian interested about us.
Tragedy would touch Silsilah unexpectedly in 1992. On May 20th, 1992, one of the key members of Silsilah and a PIME missionary, Father Salvatore Carzeda, was assassinated on his way home after a meeting. The event devastated the group and raised doubts about its continuity and safety.
It was in the evening, and for sure it was an ambush. So it is not clear. Some say that I was the target. That was the biggest sad moment for me, for all of us, to the point that people want us to stop, say it's impossible.
The feeling that we lost someone in the family of Silsilah was very intense that time. No? To lose a friend, someone who inspires us. There were so many forms of discouragement that time, not only because he was killed, but even other people tried to discourage us to stop our work and activities. And then even trying to threat us like, if you will not stop joining Silsilah, you might be the next one to be killed.
At the time, we were not so strong. And thanks to God, we find the spiritual energy. And Minda said, no, Padre Salvatore, remind us padayon, no? Padayon means move on, no? And we said, okay, padayon. And I can say from that time on, Silsilah have been becoming stronger and more determined in many ways.
Today, the Silsilah Dialogue Movement has expanded considerably since its formative years. The movement reaches beyond Zamboanga, with programs extending nationally and internationally. Silsilah is headquartered in Harmony Village, a lush 14-acre compound overlooking the Sulu Sea near Zamboanga. The grounds encompass many ever-expanding buildings and prayer houses. Harmony Village hosts numerous annual activities, including summer youth courses where Muslims and Christians interact, formation of faith groups and leaders, media production and publication, and many others.
Silsilah is a movement, and we have different components. Structure-wise, we have an organizational setup. We also have areas of formation. We organize summer courses, seminars, and workshops. And these are participated by people who belong to different professions in life, and most especially those who are working in the communities and non-government organizations. We have also the Harmony Zone areas, where we bring the spirit of dialogue and peace in the grassroots level.
I attended the summer course, and in that summer course we had exposures living with people in the community. We have to know the other faith, not only theologically, but also the day-to-day living and appreciation of the differences. What Father Seb did in Mindanao is like in the concept of Christianity, you have witnessing, to be witness of your faith to others, not to convert, but to show them the compassion, love, and the real teaching of Christianity.
Father Sebastiano D'Ambra, he wants that how Christian to become a better Christian and how Muslim to become a better Muslim. One verse from the Bible that I've learned that he put into action is, blessed are the peacemaker. I think he is blessed because of being peacemaker, because right after the establishment of the movement, the Silsilah Dialogue Movement, you can see harmonious and solidarity among Muslim and non-Muslims. We are trying to promote deeper understanding and how to build a good relationship and friendship from the people of Zamboanga.
Harmony Village is a living example of Silsilah Dialogue Movement's fourth pillar, dialogue with creation. The village grounds supply natural health products to the community, whilst preserving the rich Filipino agricultural heritage through seminars and advocacy.
We see God in everything from soil to soul. We're working with the native people. And so we want to help them, empower them, and help them recall what is good in their culture. And because they're forgetting it. Once they get into this modern lifestyle, modern everything, they forget their roots. So we're trying to see how they can see the beautiful things that they still have, and we're trying to enhance it.
Somebody say, Father, how you have been for 30 years this dialogue? And one of my answers is because we believe in a spiritual approach. We believe that along the way God can work in us. In Silsilah, we say, go to the deeper part of your heart, try to be inspired by your religion, and go beyond. Be also free to follow the inspiration of the Lord in your life.
Some, specifically on the Muslim side, that if you engage with a priest to talk about, interfaith dialogue, they think that they try to Christianize you. Sometimes people really question if you're really a Muslim or not. So to me, it's really quite difficult because, I'm not your typical Muslim lady. I don't cover my hair. And people would think that, perhaps she's already a Catholic. I think God gave us a purpose, and the purpose is salam, is our calling. Peace really is our calling. In whatever form, if you're an educator, if you're a scientist, if you're an NGO worker, we do good because we want peace. And that's what I believe in.
Silsilah puts a special emphasis on helping and influencing youth, especially those underprivileged and affected by conflict. That is why the commitment was made to provide elementary education to the before neglected small island population of Santa Cruz, located several kilometers from Zamboanga city.
There was that feeling that these people living in the island, they are not good people. They are poor, of course, majority are Muslims. I said to myself, the children of these people must be the priority. We decided to put up a school with the hope that through us, through the school, these children will be educated in a way of being open to different realities in life.
Ikaw, grade 5.
They can be a good instrument in building community. And then these children will grow up, and then they can have a better life, and they can serve back their own community.
I don't expect that I'm going to teach here because since I was elementary, but I love teaching since elementary, high school. That's why in college I finished my degree in Bachelor of Elementary Education. Then I applied here in Silsilah, and fortunately I got a job. And every Friday we have this book, which is Silsilah gave it to us, Tulay Bata Dialogue for Peace, wherein we are teaching pupils, our children, how to promote peace and dialogue among themselves, and also people here in community.
Some people probably continue to say why you are spending so much time, energy with the Muslim. I think people start to reflect. It is worth it to build these bridges. I believe in this stage of history where there is more radicalism, we have to move on, no matter how. And I believe Christian and Muslim who have been observing Silsilah in these 30 years, they can say it is worth it to be together, to build together a common house in spite of form of radicalism that still are clear, even here in our part, not only in other countries.
In September 2013, violence would once again shake Silsilah and Zamboanga city. An armed conflict erupted after about 500 armed assailants from the Moro National Liberation Front, the MNLF, held some 200 civilians hostage after declaring independence from the Philippines. The MNLF was displeased and angered by the ongoing peace process in Mindanao, which had excluded them from the negotiations. The Philippine army engaged the rebels after a ceasefire deal failed. The fighting displaced over 100,000 residents and destroyed entire neighborhoods. Silsilah's Padayon Center, which was located in the war zone, was heavily damaged.
For more than 2 weeks, always we see the fire in that area, and the people in this side see their houses have been burned. My experience of more than 35 years in the Philippines has been the most painful experience. We do our best to really give our witnessing presence and everything we can do. During that time, for instance, our youth have been volunteers to help all the evacuees.
Being wounded is a negative experience, but it's also an opportunity for us to search for healing. All the more there is a need for dialogue when we pass through a certain pains and difficulties in life. But dialogue per se for us is a spirituality. It is a life that is moving us because we believe this dialogue comes from God Himself. God takes always the initiative to be in dialogue. This means that even if we are wounded, God is there always, constantly. Nothing has changed for Him. But He is there always to help us to regain back wholeness.
A certain movement or certain groups who want to project that this is a war between the Christians and the Muslims. So we did a lot of work to go on television, press conference, meeting with the media, and giving message of peace or unity and dialogue. And they understood the idea that this is not a religious war, no? I'm peaceful. I'm happy of this experience. I know that it's the Lord who is moving. I'm just an instrument to do what I feel is the will of God. At the end, it's not my mission. If it's the will of God will be developed, and at the end, I'm peaceful. I do my best, but at the end, I say, Lord, you do the rest.